I just want to say I might have been a little too excited about the lack of freezing rain a little too soon. I don't think spring's ever coming. Every year. Hey everyone, it's Britt here with Green Bee Flowers. Got a really exciting video coming up for you today. We are designing another beautiful wedding bouquet for another a la carte wedding that's going to be a city hall wedding. I'm really excited. The color palette for this is great. It's so dreary here. I'm just really looking forward to some sunshine, but it's eviction day for some of our seedlings, so Nick is working on bringing up a bunch of those.
I'm gonna switch them over so that they can be top watered and not drown.
It has nothing to do with the fact that we want to use those other trays for more seating, right? No. So these here are all of the Potomac series snapdragons. They are ready to go out to greenhouse 2, where they're going, or I guess greenhouse 1, where they're going to spend a couple days, probably a week, just acclimating to being in the greenhouse before they get planted. Hopefully soon. The weather would cooperate. There's more back there. Every year, without fail, we take the seedlings from our basement and bring them out to the big greenhouse. Now, I know that this is the time of year where the cool annuals, we spend a lot of time like taking them in and out and in and out. We bring them right into the greenhouse, one, because it's partially heated, so we have the ability to keep that heated if we need to. And I'm very much a survival of the fittest type of farmer. So we've been doing this for years. Unless they are going right outside, so things like the zinnias, which we're sort of moving into direct seeding a lot of that anyways, they just go right from the grow lights into the greenhouse, because the greenhouse is already kind of a controlled area. It's not going to get the same amount of wind pressure that is usually what like wipes seedlings out, and it's a nice like gray day today, so it's the perfect day to bring them out. They're gonna go in there, they're gonna hang out, they're gonna get used to their new climate. All will be well. Snapdragons are pretty hardy. I've seen them bounce back from a lot stranger circumstances, and so these guys are gonna get out. Because it's April now, we have a ton of stuff that we have to start seeding. Marigolds, agrostemma, hibiscus, cosmos, zinnias, all of those really, really big summer annuals that are like 6 weeks out from going in the ground need to be seeded this week and next week. So I have to evict all of the cool weather annuals. They all got to get out of my basement so that we have room to get the next round of seedlings started. There's a lot, right? We are now hitting the point where we've got like 10,000 seeds that have to be started in a matter of a couple days. So it is spring. bridal bouquet that we are making today. I'm just gonna time lapse it because there's another video a little further back, I'll link it below, that I talk about how I make bridal bouquets. But this is our really beautiful moody inspiration photo for this bouquet, and I'm super excited because I've been collecting like all of the dark ranunculus for this. And then we also have these really stunning, so these quicksands came to me just like the perfect hue. It happens so rarely that they come in with this just unbelievably gorgeous dusty mauve. And then the real stars of the show is this incredible local stock. Like, just one, it smells delicious, but look at the coloring on this. And then the one I'm most excited about, and I did order these in, they are, I believe, from the Netherlands. Look at the scabiosa. It's just, oh, it's so beautiful. Like, come on. So this is the finished bouquet. I still have to like do the ribbon around the base yet, but it's such a stunning color palette, guys. This like beautiful dusty mauve with the dark purples, like berry, right? Like this is like a dark berry palette. Anyways, I did want to make a note because I talked in my last video, in my last video about the fact that we were picking these ranunculus, and I was okay with the fact that they were shorter stems, like the 8-inch stems, because I didn't need the long stems to go in my bridal bouquets. And I think there's, you know, you get stems as a florist, and they're normally like 12-inch stems, at least when you're getting ranunculus, because the goal is always to be able to also put them in like a hand tie that you're selling, like an everyday style bouquet. When you're making bridal bouquets, especially this like new popular style, it's really important to make sure that you cut your stems short. Because there's nothing worse than having like all of these green stems touch the bride's dress when she's trying to like, you know, hold the bouquet forward. Because realistically, right, like this is the way they should be holding the bouquet when it comes down, like when they walk down the aisle. And because I love it when my bouquets dance, I'm a little obsessed, right? So the stock that I have in here, the Ontario grown stock, like the color, but the ranunculus in here, the anemones, the tulips are all ours from the farm. The scabiosa in here came from growers in the Netherlands. Obviously the roses are Colombia, carnations are Colombia, and then the Hellebore is also from the Netherlands in here, and then the eucalyptus is from Italy. Like a little bit of everything in here, but I kind of think we nailed it. I'm actually obsessed. Every time I make a bouquet, I'm like, oh, this is my new favorite bouquet. Like I was all about that with the last one that I made that was like all the hot pinks. But I love this one too. She's so pretty, and look at the way the scabiosa dances. Oh. And just as a reminder, this is what we were making, and this is the finished product. I think the bride is going to be very, very happy. So I went with kind of an off-white ribbon. The bride did want it a tight ribbon just because it is a city hall wedding, so she didn't want anything that was like crazy and whoop down. But I love it. Such a good palette. The way the flowers dance. And this one was fun because it does have a bit of greenery in it. So you've got your Italian ruscus and your gunny uke. Just adding a little bit of that like extra. So lovely. You can hear Joseph in the background. His new favorite game is it Joseph or is it the ketchup bottle? I think he's got loose teeth because he's, 7, 8 now. So it's like, when kids like play with their teeth, he sucks on the air and it's a whole sensory thing. Anyways, so this week in the store, we had the head of our like local horticultural society popped in because we had talked about doing a dahlia tour at the farm later, and weather contingent, well, I'm hoping to, that's September, so that's a ways away. But we got talking about Hellebore because one of the plants that I don't currently have at the farm that I would like to actually have a fair amount of is Hellebore. And so, bless her heart, she wrote me this really sweet handwritten note. They were taking apart a garden from a house that had sold, and typically the horticultural societies will go, or our local horticultural society will go in if somebody's moving, if somebody has passed away, and they're donating the plants to the horticultural society to sell in the spring as part of their fundraisers. She managed to score me of this beautiful little vase of Hellebore because they're one of my favorite spring flowers, and I would love to have a lot of these at the farm. But we weren't able to get the actual plants because the other members had come in and they were gone. And that's fine, right? Like, I'm a flower farmer. I do not need the Horticultural Society to give me free plants. I can definitely manage to get those on my own. But, oh my goodness, what a sweet gesture. And look at how beautiful they are. Now, I did kind of laugh because obviously as a farmer, I had a bit of a chuckle because they're beautiful, but they were harvested a little early, and that's neither here nor there. So we do have a couple that flopped over a bit. So like the white and this beautiful, like really lovely dark black purple, right? And it was just so sweet because she did this absolutely gorgeous little like jar arrangement for me that I now have sitting on my kitchen table. Plant people are wonderful. Like the plant community, it doesn't really matter where you are in the world. Like it's just such a wonderful, wholesome community to be a part of because we're just all so ridiculously excited about the same things, and it's so niche and it's so wonderful, and it just brings so much joy and so much beauty. So it was fun to connect with her. I'm excited because I'm going to be doing a talk on dahlias for our local horticultural society in September. But making those connections, if you are into gardening and farming, is just, it's so wonderful. And I think as somebody who is young, right, like under 40, mid 30s into 40, getting connected into those societies locally and being able to support them, because we are also, you know, so deeply into the flower world. And I cannot get over how sweet of a gesture this was, because she also stuck in some boxwood and some cedar. It's just, I love it. It's so thoughtful, because what do you know, we flower farmers like getting flowers too. I do enjoy, you know, bringing home, I've got a new rose variety to us that it's a garden rose. You can tell when it opens up here, you can see like the pollen on the inside there. But it's just, I think it doesn't matter what age you are. There's just something really wonderful and really beautiful about connecting with other people who just so genuinely love nature as much as you do. So, too funny. All right, so right now I am working on seeding agrostema. Corncockle, I guess, would be the colloquial term for that. We grow the blossom pearl, which is the blush, and the ocean pearl, which is the white. And last year, we did direct seed these right in the field, and the germination on them was just fine. So this year I'm actually doing them up in soil blocks, because I want to just transplant them directly into like a row that's got the landscape fabric on it, because agrostema's got very like tall singular shoots. It doesn't branch out well, so the more I can get in, it's kind of like a one and done on the cuts. Now granted, the bachelor's buttons were like that the first year too, so I am kind of interested to see if year after year we get a little bit more from them as they like fill out. But basically, I know that I'm going to need to use these in weddings this year, and I know that I have some of our florist buyers as well who love using agrostema. So I want to make sure ahead of time that I am putting in enough of these plants. So soil blocking them this year just really seemed to be the best option to make sure that I am getting the numbers that I need for these flowers for the summer. Even though on the back of the packaging it definitely does recommend direct seeding, I wanted to try these a different way because I wasn't entirely happy with how it went last year. And right now, the other tray of agrostema that I started about a week ago has probably done about 95% on germination. So that's really, really good. Whereas I don't think we got that type of germination on them last year when we just sprinkled the seeds amidst the bachelor's buttons section of the field. And so if this works, I may just move to soil blocking and pre-sprouting agrostema. If it is more work than it's worth, we will see and readdress that conversation again next year. But I will say this, agrostema and campanula are two filler flowers that not a lot of other growers around me do grow. And so it's important that we are diversifying as a farm. And so learning how to do these two plants really well, I think is very important. Agrostema definitely has a better germination rate for us than the campanula did, but I am able to get enough campanula plants because I can pinch those to get a lot more side shoots, whereas the agrostemas, you know, I know that if I sow 200 seedlings or like 200 seeds of these, I should get pretty close to 200 plants. And if I can get these succession planted, like devote an entire row to them and kind of get them succession planted throughout the summer, the hope is that I'll be able to pull, you know, 9 to 10 bunches of 10 off of these every week. or like every week to like 2 weeks, which hopefully will give me like about 6 to 8 straight weeks of these blooms. Whereas when we direct seeded them, they were already in 1 week, and because the packets that you get, they're decently expensive filler flowers, that it's just too much of an investment for me to not pay more attention to how these grow. And they're really dainty. And when I can get the ones that look really good from the wholesaler, like, they're beautiful. So I would like to obviously grow them just as beautiful ourselves. But filler flowers like this, and I'd say that Buclurum, Orlea, Nigella, Campanula, Agrostema, they're all kind of on in that series of fillers that I do want succession planted throughout the summer, because they are more like of a one and a done cut, you know, as opposed to like zinnias that you can plant them once and they just come back forever. So yeah, so it takes a little bit more math and a little bit more time to kind of do that correctly, but I'm excited and hopeful that this will work to our advantage this year, and it won't just be a waste of seed, because I did purchase like 1/8 of an ounce of both of these, and I think that ended up being about around $8 Canadian, just a decent amount for a flower that is smaller than a Cosmo. Every plant is different, and it takes a little bit of time to get to know them. And that's why we're here as well, is so that hopefully, you know, as we're learning and trialing new things from year to year, maybe you guys are able to learn something that you're able to do and practice and incorporate into your own growing. So this tray is done, and next I'm going to be potting up some things. So just so you guys can see the actual germination rates on Agrostema that I did seed, it did very, very well. And there's still some that are starting to pop up. So I'm very, very pleased with this experiment so far, you know, in the first week, and we'll keep tabs on these throughout the spring and see how they do transplanted, because I think that's likely to be the hardest part of the entire trial, simply because they put down longer roots, and typically things with tap roots don't love being transplanted as much as stuff that has lots of like curly roots, like zinnias and snapdragons that just, you know, root around the entire thing and find all the nooks and crannies. So we are going to keep tabs on that. Got some straw flower to get potted up. Just kidding. We're gonna do baby's breath first. Johnny's box, and every year, it doesn't matter where in the house we're doing the seeding, she finds the box. Now, you guys can also probably see that like these baby's breath starts are extremely laggy, which is actually one of the other reasons why I prefer bumping them up into 4 cells as opposed to larger soil blocks, because when you bump them up like this, you can actually get some of that leggy like stem in the soil and cover it back up a little bit so that they are able to kind of like recover from that. Whereas if you're putting them directly into the larger soil blocks, then it's harder for them to like grow out of that legginess, if that makes sense. This way you can kind of like manipulate it so that the stem is underneath the soil, and I find that that helps makes like hardier plants. The leggy issue is a me problem because they were just a little bit too far away from their light source. Oops. But that's one way in which we fix it. It's just paying a little bit of attention to those as they go in and taking a little extra care when we're moving the soil blocks into the 4 cells. Kind of helps to ensure that they develop into stronger seedlings as their life cycle continues. Because the roots are naturally going to go down into the soil, and those plants are naturally going to like reorient themselves towards the light. So I'm never really all that worried if I'm like putting these in and it's not like exact. It's fine. They'll be fine. Plants are much more resilient than we realize. Quick update on the Lisianthus seedlings as well. They're gone through a bit of a growth spurt. They're starting to look like real plants and not just tiny little specks. I'll pull this guy out so that you can actually, so easily starting to get their next set of leaves on. We'll bring these out either to the back greenhouse or to the farm greenhouse by the end of like probably this week, because they will be able to go in about a week before our last frost. Lisianthus do tend to be a little bit more hardy, and so we can get those moving on out of the greenhouse sooner rather than later. All right, friends, so we are going to wrap this video up here. I got a lot seeded today, 10 to 12 trays-ish, bunch of stuff up potted. We are finally, I think, back on track for the spring season. I have like one succession of asters left to do, and then we're just into our marigolds, our zinnias, our cosmos, the really, really fast growing annuals that we typically don't start until we're 4 to 6 weeks out from planting anyways, and we are looking at about the 6-week mark right now. So it feels so good. We are ready. The seed room is filling up, the greenhouses are filling up, and I will be doing a farm tour at some point this week, so please make sure that you tune in for that. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. We will catch you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.